welcome to another exciting edition of the P&B Sports Show. I'm Abel Sunday. Today, we focused on the Super Eagles of Nigeria in their AFCON campaign. Super Eagles prospects in Group C, where they will contend with Tanzania, Tunisia, and Uganda. It is a group that combines experience, tactical discipline, and regional rivalry, raising an important and timely question: can Super Eagles successfully qualify from this group? But we don't know if they can navigate. We don't know. But I have to provide expert analysis on Nigeria's chances, examine the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition, I beg your pardon, and discuss the key factor that will determine qualification. I am joined by two seasoned analysts, Walter Odige and Wisdom Chimoba, both joining us virtually from the Center of Excellence, Lagos. Grab your teacup because P&B Sports start now. Welcome back. It's P&B Sports, reaching you live from the nation's capital. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. We have Wisdom, I like calling him the principality of sport, but I said it's the principality. But for me, it's the principality of sport. And of course, I also have Walter Odige, the distant prince of Benin land. You've gone to Lagos to go and possess your possession. But by it now, gentlemen, you are welcome to the show again once more.
Yeah, it's nice being here. Thank you.
All right. Let me start with you, Walter, before I go to Wisdom. Walter, we're a few days away for the kickoff of the AFCON. Now, what are your expectations from our darling Super Eagles? Though we know that we have a super team, but I don't think on pitch they are not super. I'm sorry to use that word. But on paper they are super, but on the pitch they are not super anymore. If common Gabon will come and do it over us, even Lesotho, you can imagine such a team. No disrespect, but Super Eagles should fly so high against such a team, and we can struggle with that kind of team in the World Cup qualifiers. Then I don't think we are super anymore. But let me go to you, Walter. What do you see? What is your take or your expectation from Super Eagles?
I won't lie to you. I really don't know what to expect from the Super Eagles. I am indifferent. I think the part of me left the Super Eagles of Nigeria when they failed to beat Congo at the World Cup playoffs. I won't lie to you. After that day, I have not returned the same. I don't know if I like the Super Eagles of Nigeria anymore. To be honest with you, I don't know if I like the Super Eagles anymore because I had huge hopes for them. I had huge expectations for them. I really felt if Nigeria had won that game, I would have been predicting that we will win the AFCON. That's how strong I would have been to this AFCON. But losing that game, it's killed a lot of things in me, and I don't think I believe in the Super Eagles anymore. Now that's fine. Now when the list comes out and you see some names in the list, it's just anyhow. It's scattergun at this moment in time. It's a scattergun approach. And the Nigerian Football Federation and the coach himself have decided to pick not one that I'm favoring, because I'm looking at the list and I don't think they've solved the problems we have been we have been yearning for. Now, even if they solve the problems by calling the players with, they call the players that would not necessarily come into the Super Eagles first 11, which is my own problem. I look at the midfield and it's still lacking in quality. We still don't have the quality that we need to possess a team. You see when you see Nigeria is just, I can't think, I'll say it any day, anytime. Nigeria is just a victim of cement injury away from being trash. And we saw that against Congo because when Osimhen went out, we were totally outplayed and outnumbered by Congo. Our defense was just outrun. I don't know if Chell is the right man. So I would like you. My expectations are very, very, very low. Let's say a round of 16 exits or a quarter-final exit at best. What I would say is I cannot give you where to go, but as soon as Nigeria beats any of the top guns, as soon as we beat the likes of Morocco, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, Algeria, Egypt, even Egypt, as soon as we beat one of those nations, I think Nigeria will sit the tournament because we might be lucky to play a team like Gabon in round of 16, then play a team like Cameroon in quarterfinals, and play a team like South Africa in semi-final. Yes, we might be lucky and might skill through such journey. But if we play any of the top guns, even if it's in the round of 16, and we're able to play any of the top guns, trust me, I don't see how Nigeria will beat any of the top guns at this tournament. We are not just good enough. That's just a simple thing. I don't believe we are good enough. I don't believe we can beat Cameroon, Senegal, Egypt, Morocco. I don't think Cote d'Ivoire. I don't think we can beat any of those things. But we can be lucky and they can bring surprise like they did in the last half. During the last half, nobody gave them the chance also, but they were able to achieve great things. And so for me, I'm keeping my fingers crossed and let's see what Super Eagles can do this time around.
All right, let me come over to you. The principal thing. Well, let me just do a little jab. Coincidentally, you and Walter are Manchester United fan, and me, I'm a Super Eagles fan, and for a very long time, I could express and I could feel what you guys are feeling for a very long time right now. Since Sir Alex Ferguson left that club, it has been abysmal performances back to back. You guys know how to put it together. And now the Super Eagles are giving me the same cup of tea. So I was like, how do you guys survive all these years? Because only that AFCON, I almost died. The qualification for that playoff, I almost died that night. I said, God, I could not even sleep. Do you understand? I said, how can Manchester United fan continue to live after all this kind of many heartbreaks? But that's by the way. But I don't know if you share same sentiment with Walter concerning the Super Eagles. We are starting. I think our game should be on the 23rd, or so that should be on Wednesday. That should be the first game. Do you see anything positive from the Super Eagles, or do you think let's just go and answer present as usual and then follow? Because to be honest, I don't know if I should be excited that we are going for it, because I don't know. That's the truth. And like he rightly said, without Osimhen, I don't think they're Super Eagles. The principal.
Well, yeah. First of all, I have to say I'm not surprised when Nigerians are losing hope. In fact, even I myself, I won't lie to you, I've lost hope. But let's just say, for me, it's a case of everybody cannot lose hope at the same time. Okay, so when everybody's losing hope, even though the faith might not be 100%, so I'm just trying to have a little faith, like the mustard seed, and let's see if the mountain will move, if we ask it to move. You understand? So for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, I mean, yes, it is obvious. Without Victor Osimhen, there is no Super Eagles of Nigeria. But I think one thing we can take solace in is the fact that of late, when you watch our games, you see that our defense is becoming rock solid. It's becoming difficult for opposition to walk through our defense. And I think that is one thing that, Eric Chell has brought into the team. You look at that back line. William Troost-Ekong, who has retired, by the way, did not play, our last set of games. It was a partnership of Ajayi and Calvin Bassey at the back. And the defense looked rock solid. And then, the young man Benjamin Fredericks, who was also available deployed on the right, although now he's injured as well, which is also going to be a big miss for us, heading into the AFCON. That backline really had this flair, had this confidence, had this, solidity that even when we don't score goals, you are most definitely confident that, okay, we are definitely not going to concede a goal. So I think that is one positive we can take for the Super Eagles. Now, you talk about the midfield. I think this is where I have an issue with the Super Eagles. In fact, the NFF, the coach, everybody involved in the selection process of the AFCON. That is where I have an issue with them. The midfield lacks creativity, and I have to say it in capital letter, it lacks creativity. Alex Iwobi, who seems to be our only creative playmaker, whenever he's putting on the Super Eagles jersey, I begin to wonder where is the player that plays for Fulham. I mean, I've watched Alex Iwobi display, magnificent performances for Fulham countless numbers of times, and what is as if one maybe we need to inscribe the Fulham badge on the Super Eagles jersey for him to begin to perform. I don't know if that is what we are going to do, or if because it's very painful when you have a hitman like Victor Osimhen, who that he needs delivery into the box. All Victor Osimhen needs is one touch, and a goal is already available, right? But there's lack of creativity. There's no one to create the chances for the big man. And then you now go forward and talk about the attacker. The attackers, I mean, Ademola Lookman has not been himself since the whole Atalanta transfer saga and everything. And it was interesting to see that during all of those periods where Ademola Lookman wasn't even playing games, he was still invited to the national team. And we saw him display absurd performances that were nowhere near good enough. And he kept on starting games. He wasn't delivering. And he was starting games back to back. And then Moses Simon, who, as at that time, seemed to be doing better, was always coming off the bench. And I was wondering, what is Eric doing? In fact, that's part of the thing that cost us our spot in the World Cup. That is part of the thing that cost us our spot in the World Cup, because we are still doing the same thing of trying to go with the same set of players all the time, even when we know it's not working. What happens to change? What happens to creativity? What happens to flexibility? Right? That is part of the issues of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And then there was something Walter said, which I think I also share the same sentiment with him on. And that is the fact that the quality of the players that we called to the Super Eagles of Nigeria for this AFCON is, it's worrisome. How do you call players to the national team that you know that you will not play them? You know you will not play them. It doesn't make any sense. Why don't you just go and call in players that bad as it bad? You say, say, okay, maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you will give them a chance to play the game because you think those players can influence the game. When you look at the players that you brought in fact, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians did not know those players were existing until they saw their names on the list. And you are wondering, where did this person come from? And the Nigerians will have to start searching the internet to find out about this player. In fact, some of us analysts did not know. I've come across a lot of guys that they had to go and start and say, who be this player? From where did Chelsea all these people from? You understand? So it's not as if maybe they are not good or something, but then if we are not that, because I'm sure Eric Chell, based on the kind of game we've seen Eric Chell play with his 4-3-3 and everything, I don't know if that squad list was totally his decision. I doubt. In Nigeria, we know that might not be Suli's decision. But all in all, I'm trying to be positive about the AFCON. I'm trying to be very positive about the AFCON. I think you look at that group, I won't lie to you, the group we are in is a very favorable group for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Apart from Tunisia, I don't think any Uganda and Tanzania should be a problem for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Tunisia, on paper, we should easily walk over this group. That should be 9 points on paper. But then Tunisia could be the slippery, the banana peel in that group. But for Uganda, this is their first time qualifying for AFCON since 2019. That's for Uganda. For Tanzania, I mean, they begin and about, but for Tunisia, we know Tunisia. I think Tunisia, the last time they won the AFCON was what, 2003. So, they've been trying to get themselves back. They have a couple of players doing well in Europe as well. So it's going to be a very interesting game against Tunisia. But for Uganda, for Tanzania, I think those ones should see wins. Although we've seen it in Nigeria that the games you expect to be easy will end up being difficult, and the ones you think will be very difficult are the ones that will pan out to be easy. But at the end of the day, I still think we've got a chance. We've got a chance. Walter said something about us facing teams like Egypt, Morocco, South Africa, Cameroon. If there's one thing that I've seen, the Super Eagles do is against the small teams. Let me just make a reference, like Mr. Abel to Man United against the small team. Man United will struggle against the big team. They will come. So same goes with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Against small national teams, you are wondering where you think the Super Eagles will play as much as 4-0. They go there, they play 1-1, or 1-0. But then when it comes to the big boys, the Super Eagles will step up and perform. So, but think.
Are you there, Wisdom? I think the network is kind of. Wisdom, are you there? Oh, okay. Okay, let's go. Let me go over to you, Walter. Walter, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Walter, historically, if you look at the Super Eagles, our first game, our opening game is always a very big factor. If we start it very well there, it tends to give us a momentum. But if we start slow, and that brings our first game against Tanzania, isn't it, on Wednesday? How is the significance of that game? That's the question I want to ask you. Of course, I shared some sentiment with Wisdom when he talked about a Super Eagles struggling with smaller team, and also bigger team, they rise up to the occasion. But if I want to take your mind back a little, look at the group that we were in the World Cup qualifiers against Lesotho, against Benin, and we could not qualify from that group. Do you understand? So then you now start asking questions. What is really going on? If Lesotho can come and beat us 1-0 in Nigeria, then there's a problem. Do you get? So Tanzania also will have to be very careful, because we don't know what they're going to come out. We don't know what is going to happen. So I want to ask you, if we can beat Tanzania like 4-0 or 5-0, let me be in Nigeria. 7-0, let's beat Tanzania 7-0. You understand? Then we'll kick out to know that, okay, yes, we are ready for AFCON. Let me have your take.
The matter is, you are absolutely correct when you said we don't take games seriously. We saw it in the World Cup qualifiers, because how do you explain that in a group that comprises of Zimbabwe, Benin Republic, Lesotho, South Africa, Rwanda, Nigeria did not qualify? And guess what? Guess the games we fought, the games that we refused to win. We didn't beat Zimbabwe home and away. That is unforgivable. We didn't beat Lesotho in Oyo. We didn't beat Zimbabwe home and away. If we had won just one of those games, let's say that Zimbabwe game that we draw in Oyo, if we had won that game, we would have been at the World Cup. That is how simple and easy it is. So now what happened? Why did we not win those games? Why did we not beat Zimbabwe? Why did we not win our first 3 or first 4 games in the World Cup qualifiers, which were against Zimbabwe, Oyo, Lesotho, against Lesotho in Oyo, Zimbabwe away, Benin Republic away, and South Africa. We didn't win our first 4 matches. What happened was, let me say, negligence. It was negligence, and this lackadaisical character of Nigerian football, and they don't take this serious. Oh, it's just the first match, or it's just the second match, or it's just the third match. Before you know, we found ourselves in hot waters. We didn't take those games serious. That's just the problem, because we didn't win any of our first 4 matches. If we had won Zimbabwe and Lesotho among our best ball teams. Let's give to the Republic, because let's give to South Africa for the draw with us as well. But those first two games against Lesotho and Zimbabwe were winnable games, and 6 points would have set us in a good tone during the World Cup qualifiers, but we refused to do that. So why did we not do that? Because I remember that first time, the first two games were coached by Joseph Cicero.
Okay, what said Walter? I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think yeah, I think you just. But let me come to you, Wisdom. Defensively, and our goalkeeper. That is where I even want you to emphasize on more in 3-4 minutes. Stanley, I don't know, Wambali. Stanley, whether is he overconfident or what? Because there's this kind of 3 minutes madness sometimes. He does things anyhow as if he's not, I don't know, he's somehow not okay mentally. I'm sorry to use that word on air. But I think it's the way whether he's overconfident, I don't really know. Sometimes there are some things he does, even during the playoff. Like it does not even work, like it's not necessary. Do you understand? I just wanted to share more light on that as we try to wrap up this show.
Well, I think for Stanley Nwabali, it's what is happening to him right now. It's a case of there are no competitions, right? That is actually his problem right now. There are no competitions, and he knows that okay, waiting won't happen. Nobody feel better. You understand? And when that is the case in any team, either the national team or a club side, the goalkeeper feels like he has the monotony to do as he likes, right? But when you know that one error will cost you your place in that squad or in that team,
you will step up.
24/7. Yeah, exactly. And I think that also boils down to Eric Chell and the NFF and their selections. I mean, a lot of Nigerians almost went wild when they saw Francis Uzoho, in the squad list, and they were wondering from where, as how. How can we have Stanley Nwabali and then you are bringing in Uzoho as a replacement, right? It's crazy, but then that is what we have and that is what we are stuck with. He put up a very good performance in the last AFCON, and the truth is, we cannot deny the fact that Stanley Nwabali is a good goalkeeper. The guy is a good goalkeeper. On his day, Stanley Nwabali is an absolutely incredible goalkeeper. But then it's just a case of that days where people have bad days at the office. But as in nowadays, his own bad day at the office is becoming more regular than the usual, right? And there are cases where you would expect him to just either pick up the ball and gather it and hug it or punch it out, and then he decides to do the opposite. But I think this is where Eric Chell needs to talk to his players. And I wonder the kind of goalkeeping coach we have, if he's also quality as well. So those are part of things that needs to be considered. That because, like I said earlier at the start of the show when I was talking, that for that back line, I think our defense is rock solid. right? Although I have to be honest with you, the absence of Benjamin Frederick is going to affect us big time. You know, there's no Ola, I know.
Yeah.
Now Benjamin Frederick is gone, right? And uh, Captain Trust-Ekong as well as also retired. So three big figures at the back are missing. Very crucial, you know, to this Super Eagles setup. But then there's Bright Osai Samuel, there's Chidozia Wazim, who can also slot in any position. I mean, he's an utility player. He can slot in anywhere at the back, right? So, but then that defense, like I said, I'm very confident in the defense. We are very solid. But then the goalkeeping department is where the eyebrows are being raised, and I think it's also Stanley Mwabali because I mean there have been cases of Nigerians going after him on social media, some sending him some messages around threats and all of that. I'm not saying all those things are good, but you keep getting things like that until he decides to step up his game. We want to see the Mwabali of the last AFCON. We want to see the Mwabali that was confident. We want to see the Mwabali that did not overthink things. He did not overdo. Where he needed to clear the ball, he would clear it. Where he needs to, gather the ball, he would gather. Where he needs to punch it away, he would punch it away. Where he needs to parry the ball, he would parry the ball. We want to see that kind of style, Mwabali. We want to see the player that made everyone love him so much in the last AFCON. Not the person that we've been seeing over the past couple of games. And I think it's down to the player, first of all, to realize that because the goalkeeper is as important, in fact, if not the most important person in the team after the striker, because the striker's job is to score goals, the goalkeeper's job
To stop.
is to keep out goals. So yeah, you are as important than the striker. If your team is not able to score, then you are the most important person in that team. You have to stop the opposition from scoring you. It's as simple as that. So Stanley Nwabali needs to realize it's very crucial in that team and he needs to step up. Because if he keeps making errors like that, even the defenders will not be so confident in him. It's just a case like I don't want to keep making references to Man United. It's not even he started this. I'm going to play for this one to take in my mouth. But then we saw the whole Andrew Onana situation, how Man United's backline was always struggling when Onana was there and all of that. But that's just it. When the goalkeeper is not really putting up consistent performances, the team becomes worried. So I think Mwabali really needs to step up. And then, yeah, that's basically our defense. Like I said, I think I'm confident in that defense line. But there's one thing I just need to say quickly, and I say this every time, that if we have two Victor Osimhen in the Super Eagles or three Victor Osimhen in the Super Eagles, Nigeria will deal with everybody in Africa. And by Victor Osimhen, what I mean is the passion. Victor Osimhen plays as if Nigeria is his daddy's company, as if Nigeria is his personal business. And that is what I want to see from the Super Eagles player. Victor Osimhen takes the Super Eagles personal. And I think these players, everybody needs to take the Super Eagles personal. Only then. Because when you talk of quality, we don't need to begin to analyze the quality that we have. Everyone knows we have quality. Even the teams we are calling so-called big teams in Africa, they are scared of the Super Eagles. But one thing that is just making them confident is the fact that they know we are not playing with the same passion as they are. Those guys, they are not as talented as they are. I mean, other nations like Morocco, but yes, they've got quality. But they know pound for pound, player for player, they can't compare the quality they have with us. But one thing that they have with us is the passion and the willingness to die for their shirts. That's what we are lacking. And that is what gives them the extra edge against us in any game that we face up, all right? So I think that is one thing that these players need to realize. And I don't know who's going to help them realize it, but they need to realize that as soon as possible.
Well said, the principal team. We've run out of time. We don't have to, but I'm sure I'm going to bring you guys back here on Monday. Please, I'm begging you now on air. Please, I'm going to bring you back on air because we have to continue this analysis on Monday. We could not finish what we have today because of time. But let me give you the opportunity, the principal team, in 5 seconds. What is your final word to Nigerians for AFCON? In 5 seconds.
Nigerians do not lose hope. We are going to AFCON 2025 and we are bringing it to Victor Osimhen top scorer. Mark it.
Okay, let me just write that down. Walter Odige, your final word in 5 seconds, please. I can't hear you. It's like you muted yourself. We can't hear you.
I said the quarterfinal exit. We should not give ourselves hope.
Abi, make we no die for BP. No problem. Okay, that brings us to the end of this edition of the P&B Sports Show. We have examined the Super Eagles prospects in Group C, assessed the challenge posed by Tanzania, Tunisia, and Uganda, and highlighted the key factors that will shape Nigerian quest for qualification. My sincere appreciation goes to our analyst Walter Odige and Wisdom Chinwoba, joining us virtually from the Center of Excellence, Lagos, for their valuable insight and expert contribution. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right.
Yeah, it was an absolute.
All right. You can connect with us on all social media platforms, on YouTube and Facebook at Politics and Business TV.English, on IG at P&B TV_English, on X at P&B TV_ENG. That's the size of our show this morning. I'm Abel Sunday, and from me and the entire team in Abuja, say goodbye.